Hello everyone, welcome to this very first train sim video I've had in mind. I thought I'd start doing these. I recently got a new mic, so I thought I'd give this a go. So today we're in 35233, operating the 2 Tango 06 London Tring to London Euston service. So I'm going to get started right away, release the doors. I'm going to set up the train, so of course turn the master key. Oh wait, I've not got my software turned on for my controller. I haven't got plugged in. Well, we'll just do it for now, without it for now. So master key in, and then reverse into neutral. And cancel the AWS warning noise. Activate the driver assist device. We've got a green signal ahead, so we do not need the driver's reminder appliance enabled, so we can just turn that right off. Up here we got the train management system, which is basically like the computer that controls the entire train. It's not very simulated in train sim, but it has a few minor kinks in it. So what you do is acknowledge the configuration. We've got a 8-car train today, and it shows this on the screen. So that's all done. We set our destination for London Euston, which is our terminus for the day, and we need to set up our train's head code on the GSMR radio system. So we are 2 Tango 06, and our starting signal ahead is 9874, so we put 874 and register on the GSMR network. Also headlights, instrument lights, all pretty much set up to go. Just wait for the right of way, which we've just attained. And our first stop of Apsley is up momentarily. So we've got 2 on the bell, so we respond to the guard by pressing the green signal button down here. And we're ready to go. So let's take power, get on our way to Apsley. I think our starting speed limit is around 40. And then once we exit this little junction right up ahead, it goes right up to 90. I'm mistaken, our line speed will be going up to 100. I think in this scenario we've got some adverse weather, so expect for some rain along the way. I believe this is one of those few scenarios I've actually got where there's adverse weather, so it's not always just a straight run. But it's a little bit of random odds and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So now we get up to 100. And we are due into Apsley around 12 past 8. There's no 350 passing us on the right. The driver's vigilance device, we cancel that with the key E. If you don't cancel that in I think around 6 seconds, the emergency brakes would come on, because it's basically a reminder to it's basically the train asking the driver that, are you awake? So in reality, you keep, while you're driving the train, while the train's in motion, you keep your feet on this pedal down here, and every 60 odd seconds or so, if you've not touched the controllers, that beep, this will sound. Just to remind the driver, for the train to be checking if the driver is still awake and conscious and controlling the train. If he doesn't respond in around 6 seconds, the emergency brakes get applied because the train's thinking the driver's not active and aware and no one's in control of the train, so it'll bring it to a halt immediately. Going through this tunnel right here, we're at a speed limit of 90. Goes right back up after, but As we leave this tunnel, we should be starting to brake for Apsley. Bounce. momentarily after we pass this banner signal on the left. We're going to start applying brake now for Axley. Just using around 50% brake. How this brake works is it's like a seamless transition between the power and the braking, so like, and it's stepless. In most common like old stock, like rolling stock of the Trings, they usually have the braking selected in around steps or so, and so I'm using around 60% of the braking right now. I don't typically want to be going above 50, as around 50 is around a good level to be using for the passengers to be all comfy and stuff in reality. But of course this is a simulator, so that doesn't really matter, but it's good to think like a real driver. So we stop at that 8 and 4 board right there is usually where we'd be stopping. I've shut it a little bit. So now we release the doors, and then we wait for the driver, and now we wait for the conductor to give us 2 on the bell again. There's our 2 on the bell, so we are now ready to depart once more. Give 2 on the bell back to the conductor, back and forwards, and around power selected 4. I've just gotten my controller to work, so now I'm able to just use my controller to the left of me. So with how my controller works as well is we've got around 14 notches of, like 14 total notches, and 4 of those are brakes, one being step 1 braking, step 2 braking, and step 3 braking, and then 1 final notch for emergency, and up to 7 notches of power, and a middle notch as well. It's kind of configurable for each train, so I've got it configured for this one right now. I've got the software to the right on my second screen. You won't be able to see that in this video though, so maybe I'll show you another time in a separate video. The rain's really coming down right now. I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but we are on the West Coast Mainline South route. It's a freeware route that's developed by some folks over on a website called Alan Thompson. It's version 5.3, and it's set around the west. Yeah, it's in the name. The West Coast Mainline South regions, with the route spanning from London down to Birmingham. It also includes the Northampton route, which is another route I'd like to consider for a video. It's a pretty nice route. It's a nice drive. I don't know if you saw it then, but there was a white sign there indicating that I'm passing through a neutral section. A neutral section is like little gaps between the overhead wires that have been placed to, like, I think, conserve power between very long distances. So what drivers need to do is shut off the power, because once you pass under that, power to the train's cut off momentarily. And you don't necessarily need to, but like it's advised that you do. Because once the power's cut off, there's a sudden cut off to like the acceleration, and it's not very comfortable for the passengers. So drivers, when they see the sign, are advised to slow down in preparation to go into the neutral section to prevent like a jolt for passengers. One thing I have to say about my controller is that it's in notches and not stepless, unfortunately. So in reality I can't control the brakes like properly on this train, as like this is step 1 braking right now. It's pretty minimal, and you go to step 2, which is around just under 50% braking, which is okay, but I prefer to be on 50%. And then step 3 is like completely in full brake, so it's not very like, don't know what the word is. It's okay, but I'd rather prefer to use the stepless brake, because it allows more control over the brakes rather than using the steps. But it's just for this train, in my opinion. It's just for this train. Coming to a stop here at Hemel Hempstead. Bring it to full service. Oh shit, that was an accident. Oh. Just shut the train. Oh, head code as well. I think I need to reconfigure. No, I'm good. Still, you put the reverser into off then, which is not something you're supposed to do. Unless you're taking the train out of service or switching ends. So yeah, if there was like some way I could like configure my controller to be like a stepless brake, I would 100% do so, because it allows like better control of the train and the braking and stuff. Alright, so now leaving Hemel Hempstead, our next stop. I'm not actually sure it didn't show up. Apsley. Oh, we weren't actually supposed to call it Hemel Hempstead. My bad. Ah well. One extra stop for the passengers that want to get on there. I want to look at the actual timetable next time. Rain seems to be calming down, that's good. The wipers back down to slow. So, Apsley's our next stop. Yep. Apsley's like just around this corner, it's not actually that far. Unfortunately though, due to that stop at Hemel Hempstead, I'm actually going to be late now, but ah well. Network Rail can deal with it. So coming up in Apsley now, I'm going to put it into step 1 braking. And the rain has now stopped, so I'm going to start the wipers. This route's made by Alan Thompson, and this controller I've got as well is also made by Alan Thompson, which is, in my opinion, pretty cool. I really like this controller ever since I got it around 2 months ago. It's made driving and train sim a lot more immersive, so I have to give them that. It's a pretty quality product. Very quality product. So if I was a 4-car consist, or the train was like 4 carriages, I'd be stopping at that headboard right there. And since this train's 8 carriages long, I'd be stopping at the 8 headboard there. Very gently to a stop. Stopped into neutral, release the doors. Just like that. Platforms are rather empty, it's pretty good for me. Should be getting that a lot more sooner. This train, it sounds really funny in my opinion. It sounds a lot like a UFO. You'll know what I mean when like it starts up in a moment. I'm gonna like record the departure from in-game, passing through. Pendolino passing through the station. Okay, so doors are closed. Just got tuned the bell in the cab, so I'm just gonna respond into neutral, into forward I mean, and take power. Let's get a little two-tone in there as well. Very alien sounding train. So our next stop is King's Langley, I think, was it? Yep, which is another stop that is more or less round the corner from the next stop. From my memory, I think there's a big bridge just around this corner, and as soon as that bridge comes into view, that's when we need to start braking. That's sort of the driver's vigilance device. I'm going to shut off the power here, just in case it goes too fast. So the AWS is sounded, let me know, and a sign accompanied by that to let me know that there's a 75 there's a restriction down to 75 miles an hour coming up very soon. So I've got to slow down in accordance to that. There's the bridge right ahead. So another thing you could use to remind yourself that this station is coming up is that headboard there with the is that they call them Morpeth boards. They're called Morpeth boards because back in the old days of British Rail, there was a massive crash around the Morpeth area in Newcastle. I think Morpeth's in Newcastle, I think, right? Anywho, so there was a massive rail crash there, mainly because the driver didn't. I don't think knew that there was an area, a really tight bend. There was a really tight bend coming up, and he was going way too fast in order to stop the train in time, or to be able to slow down in time to get through the curve. So the train derailed and resulted in like a massive crash, resulting in like a lot of people dying, unfortunately. So British Rail opted to, well, not opted, they more or less had to do it. Designed these new headboards to remind drivers that certain speed limits are coming up in certain locations. You don't have them all the time. You don't have them all everywhere in the rail network, because you're not. Drivers are trained to know routes by the back of their hand. Like they're supposed to know every aspect, every gradient, every stop, every braking point, every signal. Well, I don't think signal positions, but they're more or less supposed to know their route inside and out. So which is kind of contradictory when you think of it that way, because when you think of that, if the driver knew the route inside and out, how did he end up crashing? It's pretty strange, but that's why multi-boards were introduced in the first place, though, because of that rail crash. There's another tiny one there that lets you know that a junction, it's not per thingy, like for the right line itself, but it's for if I'm being diversion to the left there. You see this signal here? It's called this signal here, it's a feather signal. And if I was being diverted on this track to the left of me, up ahead, I'd have to be coming in at around 15 miles an hour, I think. Oh, you gotta be on the lookout for that. You gotta know everything here. You gotta know a lot of things to be a train driver. It's kind of baffling. Anywho, our next stop is Watford Junction. I'm not gonna bother reading the time because I'm already late. I don't think I'm gonna make the time up. Yeah, I just left King's Langley, and at the time where I'm supposed to already be at Watford Junction. Speed limits come down to 70 miles an hour now as we come through Watford Tunnel momentarily. There's no 350 there. Once we get out of Watford Tunnel, we start braking immediately for Watford Junction. If I leave it any later, I may not slow down in time, or at least won't be able to stop at the headboard, which is what I'm aiming to do. power, and then we'll start applying brake step 2. Quick blast in the hood. I don't know if I explained the RES system before, the automatic warning system. So that ping you just heard is triggered by little yellow ramps that's laid on the line ahead of you and everywhere else in the network. And every time you pass over them, depending on the signal ahead of you, it will sound a noise. If it's green, it will it'll let out sound off a normal ping, like the one you heard just before. And if the signal is yellow or red, it'll send like a kind of a warning noise. I don't know how to describe it properly, but it's kind of like a deeper like kind of bing. If you don't cancel that in time, I think you get much less time to cancel that than you would cancelling the vigilance device. You get around 3 to 2 seconds to cancel that. Don't cancel that, the emergency brakes come on, because the train will be thinking, again, you didn't cancel the alarm. Like, what are you doing? So the train brings you to a halt, and in reality, you'd be talking to the signal and explaining to you any situation where you're stopped, where you shouldn't be. That's either not a red signal or at a station you need to talk to the signal. Well, train sim unfortunately isn't that advanced. I could press this button here, like if I'm at a red signal, and it'll basically let the signal know that I'm here, what is going on, when am I going to go. But once I send that, it just sits on this wait screen forever until I cancel it. Okay, so next stop, Heya and Wealdstone. Stone? Probably Wealdstone. There's another 350 passing us. And I think that's a 12 car consist. No, it's not it's an 8 car. I'm a bit dumb. So next stop, Heya and Wealdstone in about 5 minutes, I think. Don't know. So I believe Heya and Wealdstone is... I don't exactly remember the breaking point. I'll figure it out. It'll come back to me once I start seeing the location, like the area I'm in. It's usually how it works for me nowadays. And it runs parallel to the London Underground. I don't know if there are any London Underground trains like in this scenario, but it'd be pretty cool if we did see some. Line speed is 80 miles an hour. My mind's gone blank. I don't remember if I just saw a 90 signal or not. I was kind of distracted in the horn. I'll check that out real quick. Yeah, I did. Okay. So now I bet the question you're thinking, why am I not driving with the hood on? Well, it's more immersive without it, to be honest. One thing I like to do with Tring Sim is I like to learn these routes. Learn to drive without the hood. Like with the hood, it shows where exactly. Oh, a passenger has become ill, and the paramedics will meet the train at Heya and Wealdstone. This shouldn't delay your arrival at Houston. I'm already delayed, so it's whatever. Anyway, so what I was saying is I like to drive without the hood because I like to I don't know if you know this, but I've always wanted to be a train driver. And one thing that I feel like would be the most hard thing for me to do is to learn the routes. So I've started early. In a sense. So I already know like a handful of few routes. I know the Liverpool to Manchester route via Warrington Central. I know Manchester to Huddersfield. I somewhat know this entire route on the high-speed sections. I know all the breaking points for the stations. So like London to Birmingham and Birmingham to London. I know a tiny bit of the Northampton loop from Birmingham. I'm trying to think what else. I'm not too sure. Oh, those are just a couple. Those are just a handful of routes that I already know. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I find it much more immersive to drive out the hood anyways. So here we are at this London Underground station. I think after the next signal, I'm going to start braking for Heya and start. About now, it's trying to pass under this bridge. Coming up to Heya Wheelstone, I think I'm coming way too fast. So you know it's gone down to 90 miles an hour. See a paramedic there. Oh, a person that's supposed to be a paramedic. It's just a man in a builder's hat. Two men with builder's hats on and high-vis clothing. So I think in reality we wouldn't actually be stopping here, but this scenario's based around. This stop's based around that passenger falling ill at Heya and Wheelstone, so yeah. We'll be waiting here for a few seconds, about a minute or so. And then we're fast to London Euston. Let's get another departure from the outside, eh? That's a good angle. Yeah, about here-ish. Right, 2 in the bell. Into forward. Full power. Another Pendolino passing us. Okay, 5261 is my other unit as well. Line speed's 90 miles an hour. There we go. 72 stop right there. Sounds awful. But there's no good model in the game, and that's a freeware one, I'm pretty sure. So you may do what you got. Don't remember if I... no, it's still on 90. It's one thing you have to say about all learning these routes. Another thing that's really hard is learning braking points and speed limits. Because, again, not all speed limits are told to you via morph boards. Some you gotta know just by the location. That reminds me, another route I do know is a route called the West Coast Main Line over Shap, which is a route between Preston and Carlisle, which is around 90-ish miles or so. It goes via the Shap Summit, calls it around there. Say I was doing like a high speed run from Preston to Lancaster, to Carlisle. Potential stops I'd be calling that would be Lancaster, Oxenholme Lake District, Penrith, and then coming into Carlisle. In reality, the trains wouldn't actually stop there. Like, they wouldn't like terminate there and return back to Preston. That section of the route is, in reality, the full service is London Euston to Glasgow Central, and it goes via Preston. It can also go via Birmingham Lee Street as well, so there's that. But I don't think I have a route that covers that in the game. It started to rain again. Jeez, proper coming down. Frame is getting a bit choppy too. Train Sim's never been the most stable of games. Even on a really good rig, it can be really like laggy, which is a shame. Was that 75 at this place? Yeah, it was. See, that's another. Yeah, I didn't even know about that speed limit there. That one completely went under my radar because I don't really know the slow section here. Like the slow lines. And the two lines to our right as well, the fast lines for like the high speed Class 390 Pendolinos run on. I'm more familiar with that side of the line than I am with this one. But yeah, but that 75 limit kind of went right under my radar. Or right under my nose, as you say. Pretty sure I'm... The one thing I do have to say, I'm pretty sure our line speed is going to remain at 75 miles an hour until we enter another tunnel, and then once we get to the end of that tunnel, it drops down to around 50 miles an hour as we enter the final approach to London Euston, the capital of the United Kingdom. So what I'm doing there is just alternating with the power. You see this meter on our right. As I increase the power, obviously it goes up, but then also when I apply the brakes, it goes down. Probably should have explained that earlier. a moped board there under the tunnel for 75, even though you're already going 75. So that would probably be for a freight train, as there's 2 speed limits there as well. There's one at the bottom for passenger trains and whatnot, and the one at the top would be for freight trains. One thing I don't really particularly enjoy is freight in trains and train sim. I don't really care about freight trains, to be honest. Obviously they're pretty important, but I more prefer the passenger side of things. Hoping this video is going all smoothly. Just testing the waters with this new microphone I got today. Hopefully it's captured everything well, including my voice, and nothing's gone wrong with the game audio recording. Don't think I am slowing down in time. I am not. Step 3. So we're now on final approach to London Euston. The service started at Tring, so I think that was around 20 miles, I think we've driven. We are on line B right now into London Euston. Yeah, so with the AWS, here we go. Here's what I mean about it. So it's a yellow signal, that ping. If you don't cancel that with the Q key or the big yellow button down here, the train will stop. No what's ifs or buts about it, because the train is. If you pass any of these red signals to the left of us or the right of us, these signals represent danger ahead. Danger probably like, oh not probably, but it means that there's a train ahead, either on our line or it's not safe for us to proceed. So yeah, if we pass that, the emergency brakes come on automatically as well. Speaking of, we got red signals up ahead, so that means we're probably going to stop just outside London Euston. Slower. Rain's calming down as well. Been a bit harsh with the braking today, but again with the controller, it's not exactly the best thing with this train, in my opinion. Okay. Just the line speed's going down to 25 miles an hour. I think we'll have the road as soon as this one's come through. Alright. Put driving appliance on, back into neutral, into first full service braking. Then we wait for the signal to clear, which should be any moment now. Right, and we have been given clearance into platform 14 of London Euston. Let's get in there. Here we are at London Euston, the terminus of this service. So, if you've enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, maybe even a cheeky subscribe. Just give me your honest thoughts about this video. This is a first for me. It's the first time I've done anything like this with Train Simulator, especially with commentary. I thought I'd do commentary to give like, I don't know, a little bit of insight of what driving trains are like in Train Sim, and like driving trains in general. So again, thank you very much for watching this video. If this video is received well, maybe I'll do some more. maybe even leave some suggestions as to what route I could do next. I'll see what I can do with that. But either way, here we are at London Euston, and this is the end of the video. Thank you ever so much for watching, if you stuck around to the end. And maybe I will see you again in the next video. So here we are at London, into full service, reverse into off, driver's lights on, and doors release, headlights off, instrument lights off. The radio is going to deregister itself, and so is the computer system. Put the blind down, and train shut down. We'll leave that because another driver will sort out on thingy. I forgot to also take my key out. There we go. Hey, all done. 350 T33 terminate at London Euston. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves.